A quiet hello from Top Screen Tales. What if the most profound adventures weren't found in saving the world, but in solving the tiny, forgotten puzzles of everyday life? What if the greatest personal transformation came not from a grand quest, but from simply learning to be curious? Hyouka is an anime that dares to ask these questions, building a masterpiece, not out of action, but out of observation. It's a show about the extraordinary beauty of the ordinary, and it might just be one of the most brilliant series you've never seen. Our story begins with a simple yet deeply compelling philosophy: energy conservation. Protagonist Hotaro Oreki lives by a single motto: if I don't have to do it, I won't. If I have to do it, make it quick. This isn't just teenage laziness. It's a conscious, almost ascetic dedication to a gray life, free from the entanglements of passion and effort. He is the ultimate passive observer, a mind sharp enough to solve any problem, but lacking any motivation to try. This premise establishes a powerful central conflict, not against a villain, but against apathy itself. Oreki's gray world is shattered by the arrival of Eru Chitanda, a girl who embodies everything he avoids. She is endlessly, overwhelmingly curious. For Chitanda, the world is a rose-colored tapestry of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. And her catchphrase, "Watashi kini narimasu," or "I'm curious," becomes the engine of the entire series. She is not just a catalyst, she is Oreki's narrative opposite. Her insatiable curiosity forces his brilliant mind into action, pulling him out of his self-imposed shell whether he likes it or not, creating a perfect odd couple dynamic. The setting for this dynamic is the Classics Club, which Oreki joins to appease his sister and Chitanda joins for personal reasons. They are soon accompanied by Oreki's best friend, Satoshi Fukube, a self-proclaimed database of trivia with a cheerful demeanor, and the sharp-tongued Mayaka Ibara, a manga enthusiast with a complicated history with Satoshi. Together, this quartet doesn't fight monsters or travel to other worlds. Instead, they solve mundane mysteries presented by Chitanda, turning the forgotten corners of their school into grand intellectual adventures. The mysteries in Hyouka are refreshingly small scale, a genre often called cozy mystery or everyday mystery. There are no murders or heists. Instead, the club investigates why a student was mysteriously locked in a room, the meaning behind a cryptic school-wide announcement, or the truth behind a 45-year-old school legend. The stakes are profoundly personal rather than physical. The brilliance of this approach is that it forces the focus onto character and deduction. The solution is never about a dramatic reveal, but about understanding human nature, motivations, and the quiet stories hidden in plain sight. The first major arc, concerning the Classics Club's own anthology named Hyouka, is a perfect example. Chitanda becomes obsessed with the story of her uncle, a former club member expelled under mysterious circumstances decades ago. What starts as simple curiosity evolves into a compelling investigation into student activism, personal sacrifice, and the weight of history. Oreki's deduction process is laid out beautifully as he sifts through old documents and testimonies, not to find a culprit, but to restore a forgotten narrative. The final reveal is emotionally resonant, proving that a small story can carry immense weight. Let's talk about the animation, because Hyouka is an absolute masterclass from Kyoto Animation. This isn't just a well-drawn show, it's a visual feast, where the direction actively participates in the storytelling. When Chitanda's curiosity ensnares Oreki, his hair is animated to physically wrap around him like vines. When he enters a deep state of deduction, the screen fills with kinetic typography and abstract imagery representing his thought process. These visual metaphors aren't just flair. They translate the internal, intellectual conflicts of the show into a stunning external spectacle, making thinking look beautiful. The character animation itself deserves special mention. Keone's attention to detail in body language and micro-expressions is unparalleled. A slight downturn of the lips, a fleeting glance, the way a character shifts their weight, it all communicates volumes about their inner state. This subtlety is crucial for a show that relies so heavily on character dynamics rather than plot twists. You can understand the entire subtext of a conversation just by watching Mayaka's frustrated fidgeting or Satoshi's forced smile. It's a level of craft that elevates the entire experience from a simple story to a believable human drama.
Beyond Oreki and Chitanda, the supporting cast is phenomenal. Satoshi Fukube acts as Oreki's foil. While Oreki is a gifted but unwilling detective, Satoshi is an enthusiastic but ultimately average database of facts. He desperately wants to be special, to have a moment of deductive brilliance, but he can't. This creates a fascinating tension and a poignant exploration of talent versus passion. His cheerful facade hides a deep-seated insecurity and envy towards Oreki, making his arc one of the most compelling and surprisingly dark elements of the series, especially during the Jumoji incident. Mayaka Ibara is equally complex. On the surface, she is stern, short, and easily irritated, often clashing with Oreki's apathy. But beneath that is a fiercely passionate and loyal person, dedicated to her interests and her unrequited love for Satoshi. Her relationship with him is a long, painful dance of frustration and affection. She sees through his cheerful mask, but is powerless to break it down. Mayaka represents the struggle of earnest, straightforward effort in a world of complex personalities, and her journey to find her own place and value is incredibly relatable. The central theme of Hyouka is the conflict between Oreki's gray energy-saving life and Chitanda's rose-colored world of curiosity and engagement. The show never explicitly states that one is better than the other. Instead, it explores the idea that a fulfilling life might lie somewhere in the middle. Oreki slowly learns that using his talents can be rewarding, not just draining. He discovers a quiet satisfaction in bringing clarity to the world, even if it's just for one person. His transformation is subtle, marked not by grand declarations, but by small, voluntary acts of engagement. Another powerful theme is the nature of truth. The solutions to Hyouka's mysteries are often not definitive facts, but the most logical interpretation of available evidence. Oreki doesn't uncover conspiracies, he constructs compelling narratives. The school festival film arc is the ultimate expression of this. The club must finish an amateur detective movie without knowing the intended ending. Their solution is not about finding the right answer, but creating one that is narratively satisfying and true to the characters. It's a brilliant meta-commentary on the art of storytelling itself and how we create meaning.
The show also carries a distinct feeling of mono no aware, a Japanese term for the gentle sadness of transient things. Hyouka is deeply nostalgic, capturing the fleeting, irreplaceable moments of high school life with a bittersweet ache. The mysteries they solve are temporary distractions, but the connections they forge are what truly matter. The final scene of the series is a masterclass in this, a quiet conversation under cherry blossoms that is filled with unspoken possibilities and the sad realization that this perfect moment, like high school itself, cannot last forever. The sound design and music are just as meticulous as the visuals. The score often uses classical pieces that lend a timeless, elegant air to the club's intellectual pursuits. Sound effects are crisp and deliberate. The turning of a page, the click of a lock, the soft sigh of a character. These details ground the show in a tangible reality, making the world feel lived in. In moments of deduction, the sound often drops out, focusing the viewer entirely on Oreki's internal monologue, creating a sense of intimacy with his thought process that is incredibly effective.
However, Hyouka is not without elements that might deter some viewers. Its pacing is extremely deliberate. Some might even say slow. The show luxuriates in quiet moments and lengthy dialogues, which is a feature, not a bug, but it will not appeal to those seeking action or rapid plot progression. If you need high stakes and constant excitement, Hyouka's contemplative nature might feel meandering. The focus is squarely on the how and why of a solution, not the what, which requires a patient and attentive viewer to fully appreciate its nuance. Furthermore, Chitanda's defining trait, her overwhelming curiosity, can occasionally feel like a plot device rather than a character trait. Her "I'm curious" catchphrase is the trigger for nearly every mystery, and while it's charming, its repetition can, for some, make her seem less like a person and more like a function of the narrative. The show does a great job of developing her beyond this, especially regarding her duties as the heir to a wealthy farming family, but the initial impression can be slightly one-dimensional until her deeper motivations are revealed later in the series. The romantic subtext is another area of both strength and potential frustration. The slow burn connection between Oreki and Chitanda is beautifully understated, built on mutual respect and intellectual intimacy. However, the series, adapted from the ongoing novels, ends on an open note. There is no grand confession or definitive resolution for any of the romantic pairings. This ambiguity is thematically fitting for a story about the transient nature of youth, but viewers who require clear-cut romantic payoffs might find the conclusion beautiful but ultimately unsatisfying. It leaves you wanting more, which is both its power and its curse. So what is the final verdict on Hyouka? It is, without exaggeration, a work of art. It's a series that trusts its audience to appreciate subtlety, to find drama in dialogue, and to see the world through a more observant and thoughtful lens. Its characters are flawed, relatable, and grow in believable ways. Its presentation is a technical marvel, with every frame polished to perfection by a legendary studio at the height of its powers. It redefines what a mystery can be, proving that the smallest puzzles can reveal the deepest truths about who we are. I wholeheartedly recommend Hyouka to anyone who loves character-driven stories, stunning animation, and a more contemplative pace. It's the perfect show for a quiet evening, a series that engages your mind and warms your heart in equal measure. It's not about the answers you find, but about the beauty of asking the questions. Hyouka champions the idea that an ordinary life, when viewed with curiosity, is anything but gray. It is, in fact, brilliantly, beautifully, and dazzlingly rose-colored. It is a quiet masterpiece, and it absolutely deserves your time. Thank you so much for watching this journey into the world of Hyouka. If you enjoyed this analysis, a like and a subscription would be amazing. It really helps the channel grow. More importantly, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the series in the comments below. For the next video, the choice is yours. What film, anime, or series should Top Screen Tales cover next? Let me know.